Hello, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Former IDF Chief of Staff and head of the new Israel Resilience Party, Benny Gantz, finally broke his political silence Tuesday evening at the official launching of his campaign in Tel Aviv. And during his speech, Gantz championed the idea of creating a, quote, unified, united, and cohesive society while rejecting the values of the current Netanyahu-led government. He said that a bad wind blows through the country where divisions of left and right, secular and religious, Jewish and non-Jewish threaten society, adding that, quote, I have looked in depth at today's self-absorbed leadership, and it is not interested in you and not in us, end quote. Further, he said that a strong government governs to unite and doesn't govern in order to separate or rule. He then continued to challenge the Prime Minister and the Netanyahu government on issues of corruption, saying that his government would show zero tolerance for corruption of any kind, pointing to the fact that he himself has always kept his hands clean too. Now, as for what he supports politically, Gantz has been largely silent in the media until now, but at the campaign launch, the former IDF head made a number of vows and clear assertions. With respect to security, he said that gone are the days of press conferences on the subject of the sanctity of security, and that he will stop the boasting and return to secrecy and deeds. He also directly challenged Iran and Hezbollah, telling them to back off or face dire consequences, issuing similar threats to the Palestinians, though he also promised to be more pragmatic, like Rabin and Begin, who made peace with Egypt and Jordan. He even gave credit to Netanyahu for his Bar Ilan speech, the Hebron evacuation agreement, and the Y agreement with Arafat. Still, he asserted that the government as a whole has taken a self-interested survivalist approach. Therefore, he thanked Netanyahu for his years of service, but added that, quote, we'll continue from here. Finally, he also discussed leading a revolution in equality of education, opportunity, pay and the price of goods, army and civil service, housing, health, and much more. Gantz is viewed as the biggest rival Netanyahu has faced in years, with most polls positioning him as a viable prime minister or at least a strong leader in the opposition. Speaking of elections, social media giant Twitter has reportedly been hard at work suspending hundreds of accounts linked to foreign fake news manipulations campaigns from their platform. This just as Facebook unveiled its upcoming transparency safeguards, scheduled to be operational by March. So far, in Israel alone, nearly 350 suspicious bot accounts aimed at tainting the social dialogue have been kicked off of Twitter since December. Accounts with tens of thousands of followers. Additionally, reports say that most of the removed accounts were in English, though 3 were in Arabic and 1 was in German. But according to the Times of Israel, a source with knowledge of Twitter's relations with Israel said that the social media giant is working hard to protect the Israeli elections from fake and malicious accounts and posts, just as the platform does worldwide. In fact, the source added that over 10 million accounts are flagged and removed from Twitter weekly, with over 500,000 suspicious logins being addressed every day. Meanwhile, Facebook's Transparency Edition seemed less concerned with removing malicious accounts and more with simply revealing the nature of suspicious accounts and posts. And critics argue that such measures are too little too late anyway, especially as the official release date for these measures hasn't been announced, only that it will be in March ahead of Israeli elections. As for other suggestions on how to preserve fair elections, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, a group of 26 countries in North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, including Israel, has offered to create a foreign observer force. Though Knesset Speaker Edelstein's office already rejected the offer, calling the mere suggestion an unparalleled expression of arrogance. The man accused of killing 12 people at a synagogue in Pittsburgh in October of 2018 has just been indicted on additional counts of hate crimes. 44 charges were previously levied against 46-year-old Robert Bowers, and now another 19 have been added. On October 27th, Bowers entered the Dor Chadash Tree of Life and New Light congregations in Pennsylvania, which were all conducting Sabbath services. He then opened fire, killing 11 people and injuring several others, including police officers. Survivors described how they were forced to hide in the vast synagogue as the gunman went on a manhunt for more victims, and after the attack, he allegedly told investigators that, quote, all of these Jews need to die, end quote. Bowers is being accused of 11 new hate crime violations now and obstructing religious beliefs. He previously pleaded not guilty to several counts, though, including using a firearm to commit murder. This news comes after a gay black Jewish actor was violently assaulted in Chicago as well, in what many are calling a hate crime. Jussie Smollett is best known for his work on the hit show Empire, and he was exiting a restaurant on Tuesday when 2 men approached him. They then proceeded to attack the actor, pouring an unknown chemical substance on his body and wrapping a rope around his neck. Many have expressed their outrage at this attack on social media, saying that it's a disturbing reminder of the homophobia and racism that plagues today's society. Interestingly, a Jewish actress from Game of Thrones is also now reporting anti-Semitic abuse, but this time on social media. Laura Predelska portrays Quaith on the HBO hit series, and she says that she constantly receives abuses online that are related to her Jewish identity and Israel. In 2017, Prydelska shared the story of her grandmother's survival in the Holocaust and even hosted a charity event whose proceeds went to the Sheba Medical Center in Israel. Recommendations for a new plan to combat sexual harassment in both the private and public sectors in Israel have just been accepted by the Social Equality Ministry on Monday, and the plan essentially focuses on education and research for better policy making. It also hopes to give authority to so-called anti-harassment officers both in and outside of the workplace. A total of 35 recommendations were included in the plan, and if put into practice, the plan's 10 million shekel over 3 years budget will mostly be spent in the first year on massive media and digital campaigns, including the formation of a new pilot website where alleged victims can file complaints online. Likud Knesset member and Social Equality Minister Gila Gamliel explained after accepting the recommendations that, quote, "We have to reassert the boundaries of what's allowed and what isn't when it comes to the treatment of women and of all people. Sexual harassment is a violent crime that demands a zero-tolerance approach. That's the only way to effect change," end quote. While the campaign is necessary and sounds incredible, however, many in the women's rights community are pointing out some simple yet major flaws. First is that with the elections pending, it isn't clear if and when this plan will ever actually be implemented. Second is that the budget is considered paltry in size, leading some, like Labor MK Merav Michaeli, to point out the similarities between this plan and that of the plan for preventing violence against women, which still has yet to see its full budget realized too. Others, however, are still lauding the decision, maintaining optimism that the country will ensure a quick and much-needed change.
That's all for now, so remember to follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast.